Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most popular coins in U.S. history, the Jefferson nickel, and believe it or not, some of them are worth big money. That's right, while most nickels are only worth 5 cents, a few rare ones have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In this video, I'll show you the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever made, explain what makes them special, and help you find out if you've got one hiding in your pocket change. So grab your coins, and let's find out if you're sitting on a small fortune. Let's get started. First up, the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel. We have to look back to the legacy it represents. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, replaced the Buffalo nickel and has been in continuous production for more than 8 decades. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with his historic Virginia home, Monticello, displayed on the reverse. For most of its life, this design remained unchanged, and the 1989 issue is one of the last full decades of Schlag's original design before the 2004 to 2006 Westward Journey redesigns began. In a sense, the 1989 nickel serves as a time capsule from the classic Jefferson era, a connection to both mid-century America and the modern minting era. The 1989 P nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which you can identify by the P mint mark located on the reverse side to the right of Monticello. This small letter tells a big story. Before 1980, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, but starting in that year, the mint began adding the P to its nickels, signifying pride in its craftsmanship and its role as the nation's oldest coin-producing facility. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 898 million nickels, nearly 900 million, a reflection of America's booming economy and heavy demand for circulating coinage at the end of the decade. While the mintage makes this issue common in circulation, it's pristine, uncirculated examples that attract collector attention. Let's talk about the coin's physical characteristics and design elements. The 1989 P. Jefferson nickel weighs 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. It's composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that distinctive silvery sheen that often holds up well over time. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait is surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1989. The reverse features Monticello centered with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. When examining an uncirculated coin, look for full brilliance, sharp details on Jefferson's hair, and, most importantly, clear, well-defined steps on Monticello, a key indicator of strong strike quality that collectors call the full steps designation. Now let's get into the grading and condition discussion. Uncirculated means the coin has never entered circulation, no signs of wear, no dulling of luster, and no contact from everyday handling. On the Sheldon scale, these coins typically range from MS 60 to MS 70, with MS meaning mint state. An MS 60 coin might show small marks from mint handling, while MS 65 and above display sharp detail and bright, original luster. A true gem quality MS 67 or MS 68 with full steps can be visually stunning. If you have about 30 uncirculated 1989 P nickels, chances are most will fall into lower mint state ranges, but a few might stand out with above-average sharpness or brilliance, and those are the ones worth examining more closely. So, what is the dollar value of a 1989 P. Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition? The answer depends heavily on grade and strike quality. In average uncirculated condition, coins graded MS 60 to MS 63 usually trade for 25 cents to $1 each. In higher grades like MS 65, they can reach around $5 to $10, and coins with the full steps designation, meaning every step of Monticello's staircase is fully visible and distinct, can be worth $20, $30, or more, depending on demand. The finest known examples graded by PCGS or NGC at MS 67 full steps have even fetched $75 to $150 in auctions. While not a fortune, these values prove that condition truly drives collectability, especially for late 20th century nickels. If you have a group of around 30 mint condition 1989 P nickels, you're sitting on an excellent mini collection for study and sorting. Try laying them side by side under bright light or magnification and compare them carefully. Look for differences in strike sharpness, particularly around Jefferson's hair and Monticello's steps. Also note any unusual toning, such as golden or blue hues, which can develop naturally from storage and sometimes increase collector appeal. Once you've identified your best examples, consider storing them in airtight holders or 2x2 coin flips to preserve their surfaces. Even if their value remains modest today, pristine coins from this period will only become scarcer over time as circulation wears down the rest. Beyond its market value, the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel holds great educational and historical worth. It represents a bridge between traditional mid-century minting methods and modern technological refinement. By 1989, the U.S. Mint had adopted more precise die engraving and improved metal preparation, resulting in cleaner, more consistent strikes than earlier decades. Yet the design itself, unchanged since the 1930s, still reflected America's deep respect for Thomas Jefferson's legacy. This balance of old and new gives coins from the late 1980s a special charm, capturing the essence of a nation transitioning into the digital age while keeping one foot firmly planted in its classical roots. For collectors building a complete Jefferson nickel series set, the 1989 P issue is a key piece representing the late Reagan-era mintage years. It's easy to find in circulated condition, but challenging to locate with perfect surfaces and full steps. Because millions were released for everyday commerce, most suffered contact marks from rolling and bagging at the mint. That's why carefully preserved uncirculated coins from mint sets or sealed rolls are your best chance at finding top-quality examples. In a full Jefferson nickel collection, the 1989 P serves as a transitional issue, not particularly rare, but an essential link in the continuous history of America's 5-cent coinage. So, to wrap up, the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel might not make you rich overnight, but it's a fascinating coin with real collector value when found in uncirculated condition. It tells the story of American design endurance, industrial precision, and the ongoing popularity of the Jefferson series. In good or circulated condition, it's worth 5 cents, but in uncirculated or high-grade mint state, it can range from a few dollars to several dozen, especially with a full steps detail. And if you happen to own 30 mint examples, treat them carefully. You might be holding a few future gems. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the history, value, and hidden stories of America's everyday coins. Every nickel has a story, and this one tells the tale of America in 1989. Next up. The Jefferson nickel has a long and proud history that stretches back to 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, paired with an image of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. This iconic design remained largely unchanged for more than 6 decades, right up through 2003. By the time the 1993 D nickel rolled out of the Denver Mint, the design had already become a classic, a familiar face in the pockets and cash registers of millions of Americans. These 1990s nickels marked the final stretch before the Westward Journey redesigns would shake things up in the early 2000s, making the 1993 D a snapshot of the traditional Jefferson design at the height of its production. Now, let's talk about where this coin was made. The Denver Mint, symbolized by the small D mint mark that appears to the right of Monticello on the reverse. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1906 and is known for its strong strikes and reliable quality control. In 1993, the Denver Mint produced an incredible 455,100,000 Jefferson nickels, over 450 million coins. That massive number shows how central the nickel remained to American commerce during the early 1990s. While the mintage makes it far from rare, the Denver Mint's craftsmanship means that even everyday coins from that year can display surprisingly sharp details and solid metal surfaces, especially when preserved in mint or uncirculated condition. Before we get into the coin's value, let's discuss what good condition means in the world of coin collecting. On the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, a good grade generally falls between G4 and G6. A coin in good condition will show heavy wear. Jefferson's hair, face, and collar may appear flat, and the fine lines of Monticello on the back will be faint or missing. However, the main design elements and inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," "United States of America," and the date will still be readable. While it may not shine like a new coin, it tells a powerful story, a coin that served in everyday transactions for decades, a survivor of America's economy through the 1990s, and a small artifact of its time. So what's a 1993 D. Jefferson nickel in good condition worth today? The honest answer: in circulated, well-worn condition, it's worth 5 cents, its face value. Because these coins were produced in the hundreds of millions and are still commonly found in change, circulated examples don't carry numismatic premiums. However, uncirculated or high-grade examples can have small collector value. In mint state, MS-60 to MS-63, the coin might bring 25 cents to $1. Higher-grade examples, especially MS-65 or MS-66, may sell for $5 to $15, while rare full steps varieties with perfect strikes and fully detailed Monticello steps can reach $25 to $50 or more, depending on the market and certification from grading companies like PCGS or NGC. If you happen to own around 30 of these 1993 D nickels, that's a fun and educational starting point for studying the differences in strike quality and toning. Even if most are circulated, look for subtle differences. Coins with brighter luster, sharper Jefferson portraits, or crisp edges around Monticello's columns may have been lightly circulated or even uncirculated. Over time, collectors who study bulk quantities like this develop what's called a collector's eye, the ability to spot small flaws or exceptional details at a glance. Set aside the cleanest and most attractive examples, and you'll be surprised how a simple batch of modern nickels can become a personal grading workshop. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the composition and design significance of this coin. Like most nickels since 1946, the 1993 D is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Its smooth, silvery tone and durability make it one of the most robust coins in circulation. And though it contains no silver, many 1990s nickels have developed gentle natural toning over the years, a soft golden or bluish hue that can make them more visually appealing. The design itself is a tribute not just to Jefferson but to American architecture and history, showing how the U.S. Mint blends art, function, and legacy in even the most ordinary of coins. From a historical standpoint, the 1990s Jefferson nickels mark an interesting transition in U.S. Mint technology. During this period, the Mint was implementing more advanced die-making techniques and computer-assisted engraving, which improved consistency and detail. The 1993 D nickel reflects that precision, often showing better-defined details than nickels from earlier decades. Yet, the design itself remained faithful to Felix Schlag's 1938 original, which gives the 1993 D a dual identity. It's both a product of modern minting technology and a respectful continuation of classic American coin art. That's what makes even a common nickel like this one fascinating for collectors who appreciate history through small details. If you're building a complete Jefferson nickel collection, the 1993 D is a necessary piece to bridge the late 20th century section. While easy to find, collectors still seek out examples with the best eye appeal, coins with brilliant surfaces, clean fields, and no distracting marks. The full steps variety remains the standout version to look for, as strong strikes were somewhat inconsistent in this period. If you happen to discover a 1993 D with full, distinct steps under magnification, you could have a coin worth several dollars even in today's market, and potentially more if professionally graded. So, in conclusion, the 1993 D Jefferson nickel may be a humble 5-cent coin, but it carries a legacy over half a century in the making. In good condition, it's worth face value, but its real value lies in its story, a story of American craftsmanship, economic resilience, and timeless design. If you have about 30 of these coins, don't overlook them. Instead, appreciate them as a living link to the 1990s, when cash and coins were still king. Preserve your nicest examples, keep learning about grading, and who knows, one day, those ordinary nickels might represent a snapshot of history that future collectors treasure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the history, value, and hidden stories behind America's everyday coins. Because every nickel, even the ones from 1993, tells a piece of the American story. Next up. The Jefferson nickel begins back in 1938, when the U.S. Mint replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel with a new design featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic Monticello home on the reverse. Sculpted by Felix Schlag, this design remained a staple of American coinage for over 6 decades, unchanged through wars, recessions, and cultural shifts. By the time 1999 rolled around, the design had already become a familiar part of American life, almost invisible in its everydayness. Yet, the 1999 D issue represents the closing chapter of the 20th century Jefferson nickels, the last full-year coin struck before the 2004 Westward Journey redesigns began to commemorate the Lewis and Clark expedition. The 1999 D Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint, located in Colorado, one of the primary coin-producing facilities in the United States. The D mint mark can be found on the reverse of the coin, just to the right of Monticello's steps. In that year, the Denver Mint produced a staggering 1,092,810,000 nickels, over 1 billion coins. This high mintage ensured that the 1999 D nickel was distributed nationwide and remains extremely common in circulation even today. While such numbers mean it's not rare by any stretch, the date still carries historical value as the final Jefferson nickel of the 1900s, a symbolic ending to an era that collectors appreciate for its continuity and simplicity. Let's take a look at the design and specifications of this coin. Like its predecessors, the 1999 D Jefferson nickel is made from a durable copper-nickel alloy, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that silvery white color that withstands decades of handling. It weighs 5 grams, has a 21.2 mm diameter, and features a plain edge. The obverse displays Jefferson's portrait, surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1999, while the reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's architectural masterpiece, with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the denomination 5 cents. In many ways, this coin's design bridges the nation's past and future, standing as the final classic nickel before the new millennium began. Now let's discuss the condition, in this case, fine condition. On the Sheldon grading scale, which runs from 1 to 70, fine generally corresponds to a grade of F12. A coin in fine condition shows moderate wear across Jefferson's face, hair, and clothing, but all major design elements are still clear and readable. The steps of Monticello will likely be smooth, and small details will have merged from circulation wear. Even so, a coin in fine condition still tells its story through its patina and the soft fading of its once brilliant surfaces. It's a snapshot of a coin that's lived a working life, exchanged thousands of times since it was minted, yet still a durable part of the nation's currency system. So, what is a 1999 D Jefferson nickel in fine condition worth today? Because this issue is very common, even after decades of circulation, most examples in fine condition are worth face value, 5 cents. However, if you come across coins in better condition, such as extremely fine, XF, or about uncirculated, AU, they may carry a slight premium to collectors seeking near-perfect examples for album completion. True mint state, MS, coins, especially those with sharp strikes and full Monticello steps, can range from $1 to $10 depending on quality. In rare cases, top-graded full-step MS 67 examples have sold for $100 or more at auction, proving that even modern nickels can hold collectible value when perfectly preserved. If you own around 30 examples of the 1999 D Jefferson nickel, that's an excellent foundation for learning about the subtleties of minting and grading. Lay them out under good lighting and compare the fine details: Jefferson's cheek, his collar line, and the clarity of the Monticello steps. You may notice that some have slightly sharper strikes or cleaner surfaces, while others display more wear or dulling. Coins stored in jars or bags for decades can also show natural toning, where the surface metal develops soft shades of gold, blue, or gray over time. Collectors often find beauty in this natural aging process, which can make even a common coin feel unique and personal. From a historical perspective, the 1999 D nickel is an underrated issue. It represents the closing chapter of 20th century American coinage, the end of an era before the new designs and improved minting technologies of the 2000s. The 1990s were a decade of change, the rise of the Internet, new printing technologies, and an increasingly digital economy. Yet, the Jefferson nickel remained steadfast, looking the same as it had for generations. In this way, the 1999 D is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of stability and tradition at a time when America was poised for technological transformation. Holding one today feels like holding the last breath of a century that defined modern America. When building a Jefferson nickel collection, the 1999 D issue is a must-have for any complete date and mint set. While it's not rare, it's historically significant because it was among the final issues before the 2000s design overhaul. Collectors typically seek high-grade uncirculated versions for display albums, but even circulated examples serve as important placeholders in chronological sets. If you're new to collecting, saving multiple examples, especially from rolls or bank bags, allows you to study strike quality, luster, and the way different storage environments affect the metal's color over time. And who knows? One of your 30 coins might just have a sharp strike or rare variety waiting to be discovered. To wrap up, the 1999 D Jefferson nickel may seem like an ordinary coin, but it holds a quiet place in American numismatic history. In fine condition, it's worth its face value, but its true value lies in its symbolism. A coin that bridged 2 centuries, surviving in pockets and cash drawers from 1999 into the new millennium. For collectors, it represents the closing act of a long-running design that defined U.S. coinage for over 60 years. If you've got about 30 of these coins, appreciate them not for their monetary value, but for their story, a reminder that even the smallest pieces of metal can carry a nation's legacy. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the history, design, and value of America's most iconic coins. Because every nickel, even the ones from 1999, has a story worth telling. Next up. The Jefferson nickel has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by German-born sculptor Felix Schlag, the coin proudly features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. This design remained nearly unchanged for more than 65 years, an extraordinary run that speaks to its iconic status. By the time the 2003 D nickel was struck, the Jefferson design had already become one of the most recognizable and beloved coins in circulation, a quiet constant through decades of American history, from World War II through the dawn of the Internet age. Now let's talk about where this coin comes from. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark located on the reverse side, to the right of Monticello. In 2003, the Denver Mint produced an astonishing 459,720,000 Jefferson nickels, nearly 460 million coins. This massive output reflects the enduring role of the nickel in everyday commerce. Despite the rise of digital payments, the U.S. Mint continued to produce millions of coins to meet daily transactional demand. While this large mintage means the 2003 D nickel is not rare, it does hold historical importance as the last coin before the design refresh that would honor the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition in 2004. The design and composition of the 2003 D Jefferson nickel stayed true to the formula established decades earlier. It's made of a durable 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, weighs 5 grams, and measures 21.2 millimeters across. The obverse shows Jefferson facing left, accompanied by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2003. On the reverse, Monticello stands tall, an image of neoclassical architecture that has symbolized Jefferson's intellect, vision, and influence since the coin's debut. Encircling Monticello are the words E pluribus unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. It's a clean, balanced design that combines American values with timeless simplicity. Now, let's discuss condition, specifically what fine condition means. In numismatics, condition is everything. On the Sheldon coin grading scale of 1 to 70, a coin in fine condition typically falls around F12. For the 2003 D nickel, this means the coin has seen noticeable circulation but still retains all major design details. Jefferson's facial features will be visible but softened, his hair will show moderate wear, and Monticello's steps will be mostly flat. The inscriptions remain readable, though the original mint luster will likely have faded. While not mint-state quality, a coin in fine condition is still an honest, historical piece that's done its job in everyday transactions for decades. Now the big question: what is a 2003 D Jefferson nickel in fine condition worth? The straightforward answer: in circulated fine condition, this coin is worth its face value of 5 cents. Because hundreds of millions were minted and many remain in circulation, they're not rare or high in demand at this grade. However, higher quality examples can bring modest premiums. In uncirculated or mint state, MS 60 to MS 65 condition, these coins can sell for 25 cents to $1.50 each. A pristine MS 67 full steps example, meaning Monticello steps are fully struck and visible, can reach $30 to $50 or more. Certified top-grade coins are especially valued by Jefferson nickel specialists who appreciate quality over rarity. If you have around 30 examples of the 2003 D nickel, you've got a fantastic opportunity to study how subtle differences in wear and minting affect condition and eye appeal. Line them up under a bright light and look for distinctions. Coins with slightly more luster, stronger Monticello details, or fewer scratches might be lightly circulated or even uncirculated. You can also observe how storage conditions over time influence toning. Some may show silvery brightness, while others develop soft golden or bluish tones. Even though these are common coins, each piece has its own unique fingerprint, shaped by where it's been, how it was stored, and how it's aged over more than 20 years. From a historical point of view, the 2003 D Jefferson nickel is far more important than its commonness might suggest. It marked the end of an era, the final standard issue before the Jefferson design underwent its first major transformation in over 65 years. Beginning in 2004, the U.S. Mint launched the Westward Journey Nickel Series to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. This made 2003 the last year collectors could obtain a nickel bearing the classic Felix Schlag design without any modifications. In this sense, the 2003 D nickel serves as both a closing chapter and a bridge between the old and the new, connecting classic artistry with modern commemoration. For collectors building a complete Jefferson nickel set, the 2003 D is a key coin representing the transition to 21st century minting. It's often included as the final coin in the classic design portion of a Jefferson nickel album. While not rare, collectors still seek sharp, clean examples with minimal wear. Uncirculated rolls, mint sets, or coins stored since release are your best chances for finding investment-worthy examples. If you're just getting started in collecting, your group of 32,003 D nickels is an excellent learning tool. You can use them to practice grading, spot die varieties, and understand how everyday circulation affects a coin's long-term appearance and value. To wrap up, the 2003 D Jefferson nickel might not be a high-value rarity, but it's a powerful piece of American coinage history. In fine condition, it's worth 5 cents, yet its story, as the last of the original Felix Schlag Jefferson nickels, gives it enduring charm and significance. It represents the end of one artistic era and the beginning of another, bridging tradition and transformation. If you've got about 30 of these coins, hold on to them, study them, and appreciate their place in history. Sometimes, the most ordinary coins carry the deepest meaning. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us for more in-depth stories about America's coins, where every nickel, dime, and penny tells a part of the nation's past. Thanks for watching.